It was a great way to start conference play. Makes it sweeter on the road. There was a lot of talk prior to the game about them beating us there last year. Obviously, we were very well aware of that, as were our players. We wanted to get off to a good start in WAC play, and road wins are hard to come by. I thought it was one of our more complete games. Other than a stretch there in the second half to end, we played some really good basketball on both ends of the floor. You mentioned, some individuals, Trevelin Queen. I thought it was a really good sign for him. He really struggled in the first half scoring the basketball, but he stuck with it. I'm not sure he would have done that last year or before he got here, and he found a way to overcome a poor first half to, stick with it and stay mentally strong and continue to do other things. He got going on the offensive glass. He made every field goal in the second half. And then Yvonne is just continuing to evolve. And he's always had good footwork. He's had some really good games individually, but he's become more consistent. And he's doing it with patience, but one of the things that's been bothering us, he's had some 3-second calls, and I don't know how it works in Spain or before he got here, but they call 3 seconds, and he's done a good job of having patience, but understanding, having an internal clock, if you will, and just being smarter with his attack. And the other player that I thought played really well was Johnny McCants. I mean, he had a whale of a week of preparation. It was the best week that he's had under my watch. Just with his consistency in practice, his productivity in practice, and we were hopeful that it would carry over to the game, and it really did. I mean, he was excellent on both ends, and just did a lot of really good things. And for our big specifically, we didn't play very well over there last year. I mean, they got after us. We struggled to finish around the basket. We struggled to score. And certainly that was brought to their attention leading up to this game, and I think they wanted to right the ship and show that they were better than their last outing against that particular team. So it was a good win against a tough team, and but like everyone always says, I mean, it only counts as one. You don't get extras for winning on the road. They all count for just one win.
Do you think, obviously, you go 14 in the first half, and then they come all the way back and take the lead at halftime, and they come back in the second half and do what you did and win by 15. What does that say about the kind of the trajectory the team is on right now?
Yeah, it's a good sign. We showed some mental toughness. That last 6-7 minutes of the first half was rough, but they're a good basketball team. They weren't just going to lay down once they got down in their own home court, up 14, like you said. We regrouped at halftime, and I told them, I'm anxious to see how we come out of the locker room. I'm anxious to see how we respond to this adversity. We had AJ, that was out for the game. At that point, everybody in the locker room knew it. So that was a physical and mental blow to our team that for all of us, was hard to swallow. But they responded beautifully. I mean, they really competed. And I was proud of them because I thought that was a big opportunity for us, and they showed up for it.
What's AJ's status kind of moving forward after missing the second half?
We're not sure yet. He's had an X-ray. It's a little cloudy. There's definitely some sort of fracture, some sort of stress fracture. They're doing a CT scan at 12:30 today. And at that point, we'll be able to more intellectually answer the question rather than, kind of guesstimate. But there's some issues. There's some problems. How that's going to affect him in terms of being with us the rest of the year remains to be seen. But we'll know a lot more here in a couple hours.
Terrell Brown got to get that rest against Northern New Mexico. So what did you see out of him the week leading up to this game and that game against Cal Baptist?
Yeah, we sat him down once the Mississippi game state game was complete, with the idea of Christmas break, come back, not practice leading up to Northern New Mexico, not play in that game, and then targeted a date of like Wednesday, Thursday, January 1st, 2nd, leading up to the Cal Baptist game to try to get him, 7, 8, 9 days of complete rest, just because of the nagging injury that he's had all year long, and hopefully it worked. The best thing that we heard was Sunday morning traveling back that he felt great, that didn't have any pain or pinching after playing, and he played a lot of minutes. And he played really, really hard. And he played out, very well, especially compared to how he had been playing. So that was some good news that we had. I haven't, seen him today. We'll get going here shortly. So hopefully, that time off will help him because we need him to be a daily guy. We need him to be, the player that he is and that we all expected him to be. And hopefully he'll continue to feel well going forward.
In terms of if it's bad news for AJ, just the fact that Evan kind of has given you some good minutes off the bench lately and had, I think, 4 or 5 assists on Saturday. How much of a boost is that?
Yeah, he's been a great addition. He's played pretty well in a handful of games that he's participated in. He brings, another element that we didn't have before he became activated. He's still learning, how to play for us and expectations that we have on the court. But he's doing a good job. I've been impressed with his change. I've been impressed with his increased practice habits and his buy-in. He's been really, really good. He's been a good teammate, which was great to see and to hear. But if indeed it's a worst case scenario for AJ, he'll be relied on even more going forward. But the good thing about him is he's got a lot of experience under his belt, and he's got a lot of confidence. That's probably his best attribute, is he believes in himself, he believes in his game. And, to be honest with you, when you're built like that, you better, because you're going to be playing against people that are bigger, stronger than you are. And he doesn't think about that. It doesn't faze him. And for us, that's a good thing because, he's going to be relied on regardless. But if the worst case scenario comes to light, then certainly his role will be expanded going forward.
You expecting Clayton to redshirt this year?
Yeah, Clayton's done for the season. I just feel awful for him. I mean, he's a wonderful kid, and he worked his tail off all summer, all fall for a big senior year. It was easy to see how much he had put all the time in the gym when he got back in the fall, and was arguably our best player, in September, October. And then, he has the crazy thumb injury, just warming up to lift weights. And, it's just crazy. I never heard of such a thing. And then he comes back and handles that and works diligently with the training staff. And he was a great teammate throughout the process, him and AJ both. And then, makes the decision to come back and play. And, at one time I know he was struggling with it if he wanted to do that. But in the end, I was happy that he did, but it was his decision. And then, looks great against the Division II team. We're all excited because, it's like we're back. We've got a full complement of players. Other than Wilfred, the team that we had put together and anticipated having on the court, we're back. Our practices were more competitive. For me on game night, I had more options. And then, he plays really good against the Division II team with 3 practices under his belt. And then, last week he just is scrapping for a loose ball, and he goes down and fractures a metacarpal in his hand, same hand as his thumb. And I just can't believe it. I mean, to be honest with you, to this day, I just can't believe that happened to him, and it just doesn't seem right. It's certainly unfair, and I feel bad for him. He's down. He's certainly upset about it. But hopefully, we'll it's already started, but all the paperwork that's required, and hopefully he'll get a medical red shirt and be back with us next year.
Limiting those turnovers too has been big over the past 2 games, 9 on Saturday, then 7 against Northern New Mexico. Just kind of talk about ball security and how big of an emphasis that's been here heading into conference play.
It has. I don't know how it couldn't be. If you look at our turnover percentage, that we've had thus far in the season, it's been awful. Our 2 Achilles heels that we've talked about a lot this season has been 3-point shooting and turnover percentage offensively. And so once we got to the Christmas break, we spent a lot of time working on fundamentals of passing and catching, our footwork on pivoting, on the moves that individuals use to make sure that they're not traveling, and just getting them to value the basketball more. And what's hard for me is that it's something that is important to our program. We talk about it daily. I mean, we run for turnovers every day. So we've amped that up. So turnovers, instead of a certain down and back, it's more now. Just to continue to try to get them to understand that this is important, that we've got to not turn the ball over, and we've got to be able to get quality shots each and every time down the floor. So our three-point percentage is slowly inching back up there. I think it's up to almost 33% today, where we were below 30 for a while. And like you said, we had single-digit turnover games. Hopefully that'll give them confidence that continue to do the extra work for the next 2 weeks before we get back into class, and to gain more confidence going forward in terms of just valuing the ball and being good decision makers.
Chicago State and Kansas City this week, the Cougars here on Thursday night. Just what have you seen from film on both teams? Obviously, Kansas City having a upstart season this year up in the Midwest.
Yeah, we're still in the early stages of putting those game plans together. We had a travel day yesterday. I know our staff has been working diligently behind the scenes, to get the game plans in place and in order. And speaking of staff, my guys are unbelievable. Like, the work that they do behind the scenes with this year's team. I mean, we've had some crazy injuries. I mean, if you really look back and think about it, I mean, and right now, but what we're going through right now, I mean, it's been rough. It's been rough, and what those guys have done behind the scenes to, just spend time with all of our guys to make sure their minds are right, make sure they understand, how important this is, and to keep everybody in good spirits, not just the injured, but the other ones. And they're just tremendous at it. They're great people. They're great coaches. In addition to doing all that, they're putting scouting together. They're always recruiting. And the extra time they're putting in with the guys after practice to work on their shooting mechanics, to work on their ball handling and their footwork and their passing. We're very, very blessed and lucky to have the staff that we have, because I've never experienced anything like this injury-wise in my life, and to have two kids, it could be going through the same thing of being out for months and then come back, and within a couple weeks, both go down with different injuries that could cost them the rest of the season is unheard of. And so it's been an interesting season thus far. It's been very up and down mentally. We handled it the first time okay, but now it looks like it's going to be a whole like we have to do it again. We get our mental state right, our physical state right, and we're all excited about going forward, and here we go. And then, boom, they whack us again, and we've got to handle it. And it's going to be tough, because that's a lot to handle for everybody. Not just the injured players, which is obvious, but it's the other players and roles that were being identified moving forward are going to change again. It's been an interesting season, and hopefully we all can handle it and figure it out. And we don't have a choice. I mean, we're in the thick of it. It's at least 1 or 2 games a week going forward for the next 8 weeks before WAC Vegas, and we've continued to have a lot of work to do.
How nice is it, with all that adversity that you just described? You got 3 home games here, and you could conceivably start WAC play 4-0 with this homestand.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad we're playing on the road this week. That win Saturday, it makes everybody feel good heading into the homestand. I wouldn't want to think about what we'd feel like with the new injuries, along with being 0-1. It's a good way to start WAC play, and we've been successful at home in the past since we've arrived, and hopefully that will continue. But we definitely got a lot of mental and physical work to do to get ready for these games.